Welcome to the Enterprise Excellence Podcast, where our purpose is to help create a better future. Learn from our world's experts how to improve your organisation sustainably. Learn how to achieve and sustain an excellence journey for yourself, others, and the planet.
And I'm your host, Brad Jevons, coming to you from Brisbane, Australia. We are proudly brought to you in association with SA Partners, a world-leading business transformation consultancy. SA Partners are a truly purposeful company focused on helping organisations achieve sustainable improvement for themselves, others, and the planet.
Welcome to episode 96 of the Enterprise Excellence Podcast. I'm Emily and we're here together just to have a little reflect as at the end of the quarter. We're already at the end of June.
Goes quick.
Gosh, it does. Yeah, and we've just done our tax planning, haven't we? So hopefully, you know, any of you going through that have a smooth process. Yeah.
Cool.
So we're here just to have a bit of a reflect on what Brad's been doing for the past couple of weeks, which is building a new course with Scrum Inc.
Yeah, the course is Agile Leader Scale, Leaders Who Serve. It's a really, really key course out there.
Yeah. Why are you building this course with Scrum Inc, Brad?
Well, it's you know, Scrum for a long time in Agile has been, you know, predominantly focused on creating autonomous, focused, high-performance teams that are extremely customer-centric, you know, highly connected, able to innovate and improve at the front line, often cross-functional. And then Jeff has developed the Scrum at Scale model that really enables you to create a completely agile organisation that's a bit like an adaptable organism that's highly connected, totally focused, but still you've got that autonomy at the front, but you can have the autonomy with focus across 3,000, 5,000 teams. And you can also have the connectedness up to the executive team, so impediments and challenges, and also too just the coordination of multiple teams can be achieved to ultimately get the outcome of the goals, the meaningful goals the company's chasing. And so the natural evolution on from that is then building a course for leadership, because executive leadership plays such a key role in the success of an agile transformation. And so it's just the right time for that course to be built now in that journey.
Oh, it's exciting to be part of it, I bet.
Yeah, really pleased, really pleased. It's an honour.
So, you know, standard leadership kind of practices, how are they different in the Scrum world?
Well, I think it's funny with the work that Jeff's done throughout his career in recent times around Agile Scrum at Scale, it's really simple. In essence, you know, what's been created to enable agility, you know, at a real simple position, it's techniques to enable every team in the organisation to become really strategically focused to a meaningful vision and goal. And aside from that, it's basically establishing the executive team to actually focus on removing impediments. Now, impediments that impact the front line, but there will be impediments amongst the system of the organisation, the way that organisation is connected. There'll be cultural elements, there'll be other elements that are impediments. And it's virtually building a Scrum team at the executive level. You know, and so there's some differences there, because a lot of executive teams, they're not actively involved in improvement or executing projects. You know, a lot of them are really focused on serving shareholders and managing the financials and working together to talk about each other's department and keep each other informed. But I think the big shift for many will be shifting to actually, well, as an executive, our role is to improve the organisation by overcoming major impediments that come up from the front line, anything they can't handle. And then also looking at the systems and culture of the organisation and removing impediments and improving there. And often this gets called in Agile, it's a good word, is Agile Leaders Who Serve. You know, in a way, you're shifting your focus to, you know, you've still got to serve shareholders and the board, but you're really shifting to serve customers, your people who deliver and create value for the customers. But, you know, you can look at servant leadership now, leaders who serve the planet, serve community, which brings in that whole how do you create meaningful vision in an organisation that really fuels the heart? So everything's really connected.
Yeah.
It's not complex, but
That's good news.
yeah.
Maybe we wind the dial back a little.
Yeah, I think when you look at a startup company and you might be 4 or 5 people, it naturally works this way.
Yeah.
That the owner is highly connected with the frontline employees, he or she's part of that, and they're removing impediments and they're focusing on behavioural issues and cultural issues, and they're understanding really tightly how the organisation's connected because it's so small. It's as an organisation scales and gets bigger, that's where the complexity creeps in.
Yes.
And the silos creep in and poor cultural behaviour can creep in. And also I think the executive can lose touch with that part they played years ago, which was
more interacting with the front line.
Yeah, interacting with the front line, focused on who creates value and where value is created and overcoming impediments there, but also really sweating the organisational system and what's helping or hindering that currently. And there's another extreme, which is you can get an executive team still that is doing everything and they're not focused on what they do because they're not running a form of Scrum themselves at their level and they're overburdened with too much stuff they're doing. So there may be some executives listening to this where they're like, Brad, we do a heap. Okay, but are we focused on the right thing? Do we understand our constraints? You know, are we thinking about theory of constraints and techniques like this that allow us to prioritize and focus and throw our effort at 1 or 2 things as a team, not as individuals, and knock them out of the park and then move on to the next 2?
Yes, yeah.
But it all works together.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a common sort of thread of life though too. If you throw your energy at too many different areas, you're kind of just balancing plates, aren't you? Whereas if you kind of can prioritise and focus on one area.
Yeah. Well, Peter Hines has studied it, and Peter Hines was one of the first people I heard talk about it, where if you try to do 10 things, you might get 1 done because you get overburdened, overcooked, and you really don't get to much. If you do 2 or 3 things, you might actually get 2 done. You know, so you double your outcome by focusing on 2 rather than 10.
Yeah.
And it seems counterintuitive, but the studies and statistics show it. And so the whole concept of that is implement at an executive level Scrum techniques in the executive action team that allows us to focus and prioritize a backlog of work at an executive level and execute in the same prioritized way, you know, learning how to break big things down to small things and execute them through a sprint. It's the same as the front line in that regard. That really helps them a lot.
Yeah.
I think I heard that at John Deere, who are getting quite advanced on this, they actually, the executive, measure themselves on, have we this week received an impediment that at our level, at the executive level, has an impediment from the front line that they can't deal with, that's stopping them being able to create flow and value for customers, reached us, and they actually measure, are we getting that or not? And if they're not getting it, they see that as a problem. Right. And they do root cause and understand why the flow stopped. And then they have really good skills at executing those problems and getting them going.
Yeah, so a big part of it is going to be effective communication between all levels.
Yep.
Yeah, the front line, the middle,
and up. Yeah.
And up, yeah.
Yep.
And
the connected
really understanding and encouraging positive communication and
yep.
Yeah, and not being kind of afraid to raise an issue about maybe a manager biting your head off or something like that.
Yeah, well, the two dials that an executive action team has to turn to really shift their culture to become more agile is improve the systems of the organisation. And when I say systems, I don't mean the IT systems. That's just one system.
Yeah.
It could be that our system of doing strategy and cultural deployment is not there or it's broken. We're not helping frontline teams form their meaningful vision and goals and their plan that connects to the top line vision and goals and plan. You know, there's not that golden thread from top to bottom. It could be that the reward and recognition system is broken. It's driving the wrong behaviours. That's a system. Mm-hmm. It could be that the system within the executive team of how we run our meeting is not right. We're not actually executing work and getting bigger issues out of the way. It could be many things. So that's the system side. And then the other dial that the executive's got to turn is really behaviour. Because the concept of leadership shadow, it's real. I see it when I assess organisations. I'll be involved in assessing a very large organisation on their maturity index and how they're tracking on their excellence journey. And you can clearly see when you talk to the front line whether the leadership shadow is strong, whether the leaders are demonstrating the right behaviours and language to physically really foster that high performance culture of agility and improvement and empowerment, but also accountability. And so the executive play a large part there, or agile leadership, because being able to get skilled at leading behaviours, both their own behaviours, and starting to measure that. And I think Chris Butterworth is one of the legends in this space with the podcast we've had him on, where he talks about being able to distill behaviours and make them something you can see and measure. And
we'll put a link.
Yeah, put a link to Chris's episodes. He's very good at that.
Yeah.
And I think too, even though the executive leader, he or she might be exuding great behaviours and maybe they're really skilled at this, they may have leaders below them where there's some challenges. And then their job as that real leader as coach, both crucial conversations but also development conversations, positive ones, to help those leaders below them really start to grow and build their capability, overcome challenges. And so there's those two dials, behaviour and also the systems of the organisation, that executive team, they're the main impediments, apart from some big ones at the front line or middle teams, scrums can't handle. We'll get to them. But other than that, it's critical that they work on those side of things.
And so are you thinking, are you sort of thinking that top level, it's nicknamed the EAT team, the executive action team.
Eat the impediments.
How, are they meeting daily, and then are they meeting someone from the Scrum teams and then someone from the frontline teams, or what? How often are they all meeting?
Well, the daily rhythm is, of course, amazing best practice. If not, you talk some companies out there, they're running half-day sprints.
Wow.
So they're meeting multiple times a day. So what that means with the sprint, if you don't know it, listeners, in Agile and Scrum, you time block your execution effort. So you go, right, our longer term vision and goal that's meaningful is XYZ. We want to hit this and these measures. And you set a short term measurable goal that's meaningful to hit. It's like multiple steps towards it.
So companies you've really planned out your backlog.
But then the measures you're going to hit after that. Some companies, half a day sprint. We're going to chip towards that longer term goal. And then we're going to do an afternoon sprint, which is going to move us further towards that goal, because we're going to hit that bigger goal by executing backlog of work. That is the right backlog of work to do. Now, the same applies at the executive. An executive action team is a Scrum team. They're just dealing with, their backlog should definitely be elements around culture, behaviour and systems. And again, be prioritised. It's like, what's the one, using theory of constraints thinking, what's the one behavioural systemic thing that is impacting us the most, right? Let's work on improving that now. But it also may be one big impediment from the front line that's been prioritised that needs to be dealt with. And it's the same concept up there. The only other part of Agile leadership then, Agile Leader at Scale, is being able to lead the executive meta scrum and sequence, which is the whole what and why, I call it. Jeff calls it the what. I believe it's got that purpose to it, but it's how do we keep the organisation and all teams strategically focused and aligned through that golden thread. But it may also mean that we have to adapt and pivot depending on things that are changing internally, but predominantly externally. And that's like that strategic rhythm of review and adaptation on what we're strategically focused on. So that's the other key system to know about and be skilled at for senior leaders looking to run Agile Leader at Scale, or I should say Scrum at Scale. When I was first involved in deploying enterprise excellence, I gained so much from being able to connect with global experts like Chris Butterworth, Alex Teo and Peter Hines. They shared their knowledge, but they also inspired me to keep moving forward and played a big part in what I'm doing now. We can now offer this same opportunity to many of our listeners. We are currently forming the Enterprise Excellence community.
This community is for people practically deploying an excellence journey within their enterprise. The community allows us to link directly with our world's experts each month to learn and grow for an hour. We already have Jeff Sutherland, Jeff Leica, Pascal Dennis, Laurent Somon, and Louis Trigger confirmed for the coming months. For the final hour of the gathering, we then link in small groups with our peers to help each other overcome challenges and continue to move forward towards our vision of excellence and goals within our organisation. To get involved or gain more information, reach out via our website, enterpriseexcellencepodcast.com/contact. We look forward to talking to you soon and working together with our world's experts and each other to create a better future.
And so, what sort of roles, who is it intended for, this new course?
The new course is intended for executives and also aspiring executives. Mm-hmm. And it's either for companies that are already trying to deploy Agile or Lean, but it could be ones that are aspiring to also. This course is a good one for aspiring leaders or senior leaders to actually come and attend and learn. Mm-hmm. One of the prerequisites is that you've read at least the Scrum at Scale guide and you understand it. You've had an initial look at that, which is freely available. You know, Jeff has always open sourced everything.
Yes, yeah.
And Ken Schwaber for that matter. And then it's really, you can come into the course and you'll learn briefly about Scrum at Scale, but then we'll go deeply into the components of, effective leadership in an Agile scaled organisation.
Yeah, great. Yeah, and so at the time of this going to air, you will have been already doing some training in this.
Yeah, we would have done 1 or 2 sessions already in America, and we need to do one in Australia very soon too, or we might have already done it, depending. But we'll put details in show notes and with the episode. Yeah.
So the American one that you're going to be training on, shall we chat about that?
Yeah, it'll be starting June 22nd.
Starting June 22nd.
Next week. As we're recording this on the 17th of June, everyone, you'll see our backlog with that.
And have you already got sort of a sense of who's coming onto that course?
Oh yeah, some massive companies and very senior leaders in those companies. So it's going to be great. And it's Avi Shear's involved in it, myself, Roy, also Jeff will be involved, I'm sure. And it's going to be exciting. Mm. Yeah.
Is it sort of like a 2-day or 3-day or
3-day course?
3-day course.
Yep. Yeah. And not as longer days, sort of part day type of situation. Yeah. Yeah, which is of course for executives, that's important.
Yeah, the time constraint.
Yep.
Yeah. And thinking about running it in Australia soon.
Yeah.
And will it be the same sort of format?
Yeah, same format. Can either be on site, of course, or we'll run virtual sessions of it, which we're finding amazing. Like with the Agile Scrum Master Product Owner training we did recently, virtually, we had amazing feedback because programs like Mural and Miro and some of the things you can do with Zoom or Microsoft Teams really enables an amazing experience, but a lot of practicality also. Yeah. I think really I'm getting better net promoter scores through that, just as good, if not better, than face-to-face. Yeah. So that bodes well for the future.
It does. Yeah. Excellent. And, you've been working helter-skelter this week on developing, so what are you learning?
I think it's to me, it's pulling everything together really nicely. Like I was just talking to a friend of mine from a company called the Winston Group, Jason, on the way back around here. He was involved in the Enterprise Excellence community this morning where Jeff Sutherland spoke on Scrum at Scale. And Jason and I are both talking that the beauty of what Jeff's done with Scrum at Scale is just pull all best practice into one system. Mm. It's not like you've got to go learn this thing and learn something else and another course on this and a course on something else. It's like, no, this just covers excellence and agility and what the majority of our largest, most successful companies have achieved. And a lot of people may be listening and go, oh, Brad, we're not that big. But these companies weren't either when they started to do Agile.
Yes.
When they started to do Agile, like with, a lot of them that you know about, they started when they were a few person band running Scrum. Yeah. And they just extrapolated it and scaled, which is the beauty of the model as they went through their journey. Mm-hmm. And there's many companies like ours. We're 2 people running Scrum. And I've got Albert and Jeremy over in WA doing the same, and they're doing great things. So yeah, it doesn't matter how big or small you are. The same applies, the same concepts.
Mm-hmm. Just really bringing focus to what you're doing, isn't it?
Yeah. I think the one thing I'd like to say, Lou, is on the key element there now of leader who serves.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and this is part of the course. It's not the whole course, but it's part of the course. Is that when you look at it now, one of the key headspace shifts have to be, I serve my people. And you can look at it that my people are my customers, or you could go, they're my partners, right? There's two ways to look at it. The partners is great because it poses that two-way street. But if you go, right, they're my customers, it's right, well, how do I serve them and enable them to do the best job they can?
Mm-hmm.
And how can I serve them to help them create the best culture they can? Because ultimately that's where we create value, and that's where we're going to win or lose strategically for our customers and out there in the market. But I don't think typically our leadership headspace has been like that in the past. I think it's been a lot that we pay people money and they serve us because we pay them money.
Yes.
So it's a bit reverse. We're reversing that thinking. But the reason to reverse that thinking is that it creates insane culture because people feel respected. People are focused. People are empowered. People are motivated, especially if you're good with creating that just cause or that vision and helping, strategy deployment. But also that shift in headspace to I serve my people actively gets the leader focused on removing impediments, both culturally and systematically in the company. That's going to help that go better for them, but also just things that are blocking their way that they can't handle and the middle scrums can't handle.
Yeah.
And ultimately I think a lot of frontline employees and organisations, they're trying to do the best they can.
Yes, yeah.
And Edwards Deming, I don't know how many years, 70 years ago, 80 years ago, his 14 points, he talks about all this.
Yeah.
And so it's a real legacy. So that leader who serves bit, which is about we serve our customers and our people. Our people are our customers or our partners, we've got our customers. But nowadays with what's going on where I think most of us are becoming aware of a bigger picture. Mm-hmm. We're becoming aware of the need to, as an organisation, become better at productivity and creating value so that we can help our communities, help our economy, help us prosper and not have our kids have worse off positions than we did economically. At the minute, it's not going the right way. So if we can really focus on creating that in our organisation and getting that serving our communities, which is through our people largely, but then the broader community. But the other factor is the planet. Mm-hmm. And to me, that is highly connected with creating that meaning and just cause in your organisation. Mm-hmm. Because most of the new generation and the older generation are concerned about the environment.
Yes.
They want to leave the planet in at least as good a condition as we've had it for our kids. And, some of us, even those I meet now that don't believe in climate change, they do believe in just having things better off for their kids. Mm-hmm. Less pollution, less plastic around, less pulling down of trees, more nature, more environment. I don't think there's a person that doesn't want that.
Yes, yeah.
And I think that's the other angle now that Leader Who Serve can go to a whole new level, because when you start to think that, well, naturally, I think your vision of your organisation is going to shift and bring that into play. Your vision, your vision needs to hit on customers externally, but you can start to shift your vision to hit community and the planet too, and then lead that into your organisation, and you'll get better outcomes. And there is a clear win-win. You and I have spoken about this before. Mm-hmm. There is no win-lose. Mm-hmm. You gain productivity in your company, you reduce your environmental impact. You reduce the amount of stuff you use and the amount of waste, you help the planet, you also help your bottom line. You inspire your people and increase productivity and help and lead and help them, and they become empowered for it. You reduce environmental impact. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all totally connected.
Yeah. I think, one company I've been dealing with a bit now is inviting their customers to send back the waste. They provide them a shipping label. They say, post back your waste to us and we're going to deal with it properly. Mm. And so What a blessing that is. Not to have to think about each individual bit of packaging that you're receiving as a customer, just to be able to put it back in the box and send it back. And they're making that so easy. So what does that make us think? They're an easy, company to deal with.
Yeah, it's great. So the innovation that's happening is amazing.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. I think it's exciting times, and it's great that this knowledge is now becoming so readily available, because you can learn the concept of Scrum at Scale just by reading the guide that Jeff's released. Or you can come on training, or you can listen to Jeff's podcasts, watch his TED Talks.
Yeah.
You can learn about Agile Leader at Scale by coming on courses, or reading future releases, or listening to our podcasts, or we'll have to get Avi or Jeff on to talk about this in the future too in detail.
Yeah, let's get them on after you've delivered the course.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
And so there's it's all readily out there, and also too, physically to learn in depth, you don't have to do a heap of courses. And it covers all spectrums, which is amazing.
So just before we go, Brad, how was this morning, the community meeting?
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Very good. I think of course, everyone was just blown away by Jeff and the insights that he provided.
Amazing.
So that really helped. I've had people calling me and texting me and emailing me all morning, which was great. It took me ages to go back and thank Jeff, because I was dealing with so much feedback from the community. And then also the other great thing is that the breakout room sessions for the next hour, where the team members get together, is really high value add too. So they're able to work together to overcome each other's problems and help to create focus. Terry spoke at the end of the session, and she said that, she had all these ideas of what she was looking to focus on, and that it was her peers in that breakout group that were able to help each other and help her focus in and check that path forward, because the community is full of experts.
How cool is that?
Yeah, I know. It's like, we have Jeff come in, but every member of the community has a high level of knowledge to bring too.
Absolutely. You can really help each other.
Yeah.
Bring out perhaps that one quality for this month.
Yeah.
To test out and really try out, and it's so cool.
And I think everyone's really loving the focus of it, which is creating a better future by helping more people stick out the journey, because most of these journeys do fail. It's tough.
It is tough
to lead it through, but I think the community is starting to really show that it is a great place. And I've got to admit, everyone, I got this idea from Jeff Sutherland. It was from when I recorded the Scrum at Scale podcast with him, and Jeff was talking about, again, the red pill, blue pill out of the matrix, and how do we get more people to take the red pill, and he said he felt it was in community. And I think he's right. I think this has got legs, and we've got Jeff Leica coming up next month, and then Pascal Dennis, and then Lewis Trigger, Peter Hines. There's some really great people, and it's a credit to these people. These people are really there trying to help the world too. So it's good.
Become a better place.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Anything else you want to chat about?
I think that's a good topic for today. One. And I think the main thing I'd say is that this course, if I use my own question, I always ask people is, what insights have you learnt that you didn't know before? I think the insight that I've learnt through this is that the journey to shift and actually create higher performance and empowerment and great cultures and agility is very simple. It's only a few things. It's not massive. But the trick is engaging people and inspiring people to want to actually make that shift and put that effort into it and break out of that whirlwind. It's like everyone's in this whirlwind of noise of the day-to-day. The secret sauce is helping those largely senior leaders break out of that, and then really pay some attention to practicing these few simple things. And that's the secret sauce and sticking at it for a long time.
Yes.
Because it doesn't shift overnight, the culture, and you get some rapid gains, but you've got to keep on this for a long while.
Yeah.
So that's the insight. It's simple but not easy. I think many people have said that over the years.
Yes, yeah.
And going through this course build with Scrum Inc. has just highlighted that to me again.
You're working as a little Scrum team to build the course, aren't you?
Yeah, that's been really good.
Tell people a bit about that.
Yeah, it's really cool because we're using Zoom, and we're basically on Zoom. We run a Scrum, and then we're basically on Zoom swarming the whole time. So it's like we're sitting around an office desk together. If you're in an office with your board and all that, but we're on Zoom, and it's really cool. Yeah, you pump through the work, but also it creates a high performance team culture again too. I think it's a great use of technology, I should say, and it's just as effective. Yeah, so I've been really enjoying it.
It's coming together really quickly.
Yes, it's very quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and very good, very quick. And that's that team. A high performance team will always outgun an individual. And that's at the heart of the power of Agile and Scrum. And so I'm experiencing with this course build, which has been wonderful.
Yeah.
Some early mornings because it's
very early.
Dealing with people in Boston and Texas, with Chris in Texas. But yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, good on you.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for putting up with me doing it.
No problem. It's like another just throw another hat into the ring.
Yeah.
Let's say that.
Well worth it, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as it helps us keep going forward to create a better future. That's what Em and I keep saying. Like it's really wonderful when you have that just cause or that vision you're going for, because anything that comes to you, it's like, will it help create a better future? And you go creating a course on Agile Leader at Scale with that Agile Leader Who Serve element in there. Yes, that's going to help organisations all over the world create a better future. Yeah. So it's worth the sleep deprivation.
It's a tick.
Yeah. So it's been a prioritised backlog item. And then also too, I just got to mention, Em's going to be starting to work on a green course, which is going to be great at some stage, working that through on greening your work and greening at home. And that's another course that's going to help create a better future.
Yeah, totally. That's my sort of passion. And yeah, we've helped Sheldon College look at their sort of greening processes, and of course we've run it at home for quite a while, and I think I finally got a handle on it.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
So that'll be sometime this year. Backlog, that's prioritised backlog item, so it should be good.
Okay. Well, thanks for the chat, Brad.
Thanks, Lee. Bye for now, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Bye.
Bye.